come. Yeah. So before we moving into our technical session, so let me, since it is a workshop, let me clarify your your doubts. Uh, so one of the question is about the PC rate. PC rate. What does it mean, a PC rate? So this PC rate, the term it came from UK. Usually, this was not mentioned in the FIDIC contract. Is about the PC rate. But if you see the FIDIC contract, it talks about the provisional sum. So that is totally different than the PC rate. So when I was learning it, we learn about the JCT because our course was UK based, which is election. So they thought about the JCT. When they talk about the JCT form of contract, they said prime cost sum. Okay, prime cost sum. So that is like a prime cost sum. It's not a PC, it's a PCS. Then when I started working here in UAE, somebody talked about the PC. Then I thought that, okay, they are talking about the same PCS, prime cost sum. Then I didn't get clear idea. Everyone is talking just a PC. Then I thought later I realized that PCS and PC is a different thing. So then I do investigation myself, searching what about this PCS and what about this PC. Then PC prime cost sum, what I found it that in the UK contract they allow this sum, for example, for a connection of water, for connection of electricity. It's like kind of a provisional sum what we use here. They are using as a prime cost sum in the UK type of contracts. But here what we use it is a PC rate, prime cost rate, PC rate only we use here. This is not a sum, this is only rate. So there is a huge difference between a sum and rate. So multiplication of many quantity and rate add together will come as a sum, no? For example, you have line item, rates multiply by quantity, rate multiply by quantity, you come here, that add here, it is a sum. It's not a rate here, it's a sum. Rate is here, you are putting here one by one rate. So this PC rate is it's a rate, it's not a sum. This what I mean, finally we have to tell that. But here there is a common term here, this prime. So this prime, when you are working as a QS, you will come across in many places, this prime. So one place where I came across, when you have a cost plus contract, so what does it mean, a cost plus contract? It's kind of a remeasured, it's kind of a lump sum. Also, we call it as a cost plus. What do you mean by lump sum? Lump sum is you agree the sum with the contractor to carry out that work, that particular work. For example, 1 million we agreed with the contractor. Contractor will carry out the work within a 1 million. If there is a variation, it should be a deviation from the contract. Specification changes or design changes or whatever it is changes, only it will come extra to the contractor as a variation. Otherwise, the lump sum, the agreed amount has to pay to the contractor. That is a concept of a lump sum contract. What is remeasured? You will see a rate you will see a rate in the bill of quantities, and the quantity will be measured in the side in the interim payment. That will be multiplied by the existing rate for the similar item. Then it all add together, that will be paid as a remeasure. That is a remeasure. Similarly, the cost plus is cost mean the contractor cost. Okay, contractor cost plus they will agree the percentage. Okay, that how the contractor overhead and profit will be agreed with the contractor during the awarding the contract. then they will pay actual cost of the contractor, plus they will pay the overhead and profit. So that is cost plus. So here, this cost, what they talk about, this cost is called prime cost. It is just a cost only. That is what they said is a prime cost. So that is a relation, this prime and this prime. So finally, we can come to a conclusion. Is a prime is just a cost of the contractor. Okay. So when you say a cost to the contractor cost for a particular work, for example, for laying of tile, for laying of a porcelain tile, contractor cost is here is material cost plus labor cost plus plant and equipments and material, plant, labor. So these three should be the cost of the contractor. Now, the PC rate, what we are putting in the bill of quantities is the prime cost of the material price, prime cost of the material only. So that allow the contractor to add of his plant as well as his labor to price in the bill of quantity. For example, we give a PC rate for a porcelain tile 40 dirham per square meter. Okay, this 40 dirham per square meter is just the cost of the material. Cost of the material mean if the contractor want to go and buy the material from the store, that is his cost. He want to pay for it. So when the contractor is pricing it, if he see the PC rate 40 dirham in the bill of quantities during his pricing of tender, what he will do with this 40 dirham, he will calculate to laying the tile how much is labor cost per one tile or per square meter. This is based on the unit in the bill of quantity. So he will calculate how much cost for him to install this 1 meter square tile for him, and how much he need to add for the plant and equipments, plus how much his wastage is coming. He will add also the wastage here, plus end of the all this, he will add this overhead and profit. End of this, he will add this overhead and profit. Finally, it comes is rate for supply and installation of porcelain tile. The rate X will come here. So this X is consist of PC rate, labor cost, plant cost, overhead and profit, wastage, everything is there. So I think now you get bit of idea about the prime cost. Prime cost is the cost of the material. Then you may ask the question, why this PC rate is there in the bill of quantity? Why the client had given so many line item there, he didn't put the PC rate. Why he is putting the PC rate here? What is the reason for it? There are many reasons. The concept is arise in order to tell the contractor the client was searching the material during the design phase, that he could not find the material, but he know that he want to spend for that particular item is only 40 dirham. He know that he need to spend for this item in the project is 40 dirham. For example, I am building a house. Okay, then I have a minor budget on my head. Okay, I did a small budget. Then I was in my budget, I consider that 40 dirham should be the tile price I need to buy from the market. So during the design phase, he comes and tell the engineer who is designing the work, engineer, this is what I need to spend. 40 dirham I need to spend. So what is the engineer duty? Engineer has to find out the material in the market within the 40 dirham per square meter. Then he need to advise to the client, okay, he need to bring a many sample from the, for example, he go to a tile shop or tile supplier, he need to tell the tile supplier, I have a client that he needed material for 40 dirham. This is his expectation. This is color, travertine color, and this is the thickness is needed. So tile supplier would tell, okay, I have a sample in different color, I will give you, then you go and talk to the designer, sorry, the client. So he will take all the sample and go to the client. Client look at it, all these sample. Client finally would tell that I don't like this whole color. I mean, I need something else. Then the engineer is in trouble because client want to float the tender in 1 week. Then he didn't finalize the material. So he will tell the client, okay, you didn't finalize the material. So I cannot, because if he choose the material, then only he can go to the supplier, ask the data sheet of that material, because each material have a different data sheet now. Each they have a different water absorption, and they have different chemical property. They have so many properties will be different for each material. So that will show in the data sheet. So if he confirm the material only, he can go back and he can ask the supplier, there's a problem. People not coming on time and they're asking to add in between. I need to do a multitask here. Okay. So if a client is confirm the tile, only he can get the data sheet. So what's happening? He didn't confirm it. So what he do? He go back and tell the client, see, you didn't finalize it. I want to put it as a PC rate in the contract, because now you don't have a time. You need to float the tender. So that they put it as a PC rate, because they are informing to the contractor, our price for this material is 40 dirham only at your installation, because client and the consultant, they know that contractor will not, all the contractor, the price for the installation is not different. The different will come only their overhead and cost. That installation, tools, labors, these all are same for all the contractors. So that is what they tell the contractors, we give you the material price. Otherwise, what you will do, if you didn't put the data sheet, if you did not put the data sheet, or you did not put the specification on the tender documents, what this contractor will get confused. So the contractor will imagine himself, maybe he will pretend that, okay, this material would be 50 dirham, or this material will be this kind of finishes. He will bring it for 60 dirham. Another one will bring it for 80 dirham. So there is no control over, because everyone will put different prices. So during the tender evaluation, nobody can finalize, because we are in confusion for what this contractor is priced. So one option, you have to give a proper specification data sheet. That is what in the tender we put the specification, which is consists of the material data sheet. Because for example, you want to buy a fridge, you should know what fridge you want to buy. So what you will do, you will put all of your specification in one paper. Then you go to the electronic shop and you show him that this is my specification. Then only he can give you the price for it. If you say that I need fridge and I need this size and there's some kind of sort information, he cannot give you. He will suggest you many fridge. So you have to give him a precise details of your information. Then only he can give you exact material. So that is the reason in the contract we give a specification. That is one point that contractors can print out and go to the shop and show that this is the material specification. This is the thickness of it. This is the chemical property. This is the property of water consumption, or whatever it is. You have to show it to him. To make it easy, this process, also the project contractor is given the vendor list. So the contractor don't want to go to 10 shop in the market during the estimation process. Vendor list is given maximum 3 or 4, 5 maximum. So this contractor, what he will do, the vendor list is given by the brand name plus the local supplier and the email ID or phone number of the supplier. So contractor can easily reach to the supplier. He can send a message or he can send an email to the supplier attaching that the specification. Please provide a quotation. we will talk about that process once you receive the tender, how you do evaluation. So I'm just touching upon that. So you can price it. Here, if you don't give a PC rate, I'm telling you that you have to give a specification and vendor list. If no specification and vendor list during the tender process, the PC rates comes here to limit the contractors to go here and there. So we advise the contractors, this is the material price. So on top of it, contractor may add labor, plant, material, whatever it is, and is overhead and profit. That is, we cannot decide it. Overhead profit of each contractor is something different. That is a very interesting calculation for overhead and profit. You all might know that how it's come. I will teach you that how the contractor's overhead and profit is decided. So anyway, that we will come back to that later. So that is one reason that PC rate comes in the BOQ. So one reason is what? There is no detailed specification. We don't know who is the supplier, but I know what is only the unit rate of the material. In my mind, I know only that 40 dirham per square meter of this tile I want to spend in this project. So I fix it. So there is another challenge. That is the challenge what we face based on my case studies. You given a specification, you have given a vendor list, but still that specification is not clear to the contractor and not clear to the supplier. My case, I have so much of experience. Even you put a specification, you specify some points, and I tell that there are three people only can supply in the market. I mention it also in the vendor list. I float the tender. When I receive a tender return from the contractors, I notice that huge difference between the contractors. For example, I have contractor A, B, C. These three companies participated in the tender. One company, they put 100 dirham per square meter. Okay. Another company, they put 150 dirham per square meter. Okay. Another one, he put 200 dirham per square meter. Now, in my mind, there is a confusion. Okay. What should be vary between these people? Material price, I given a specification. So it should be the same material price. Labor cost should be the same because he's not bringing the people from Antarctica to do the work now. All of them are Asian, the labor who work here. So most of the Asian works efficiency is the same, performance is the same. So labor cost same, equipment is equipment, is made from China or Japan is the same equipment. So overhead and profit might be changed. So overhead and profit might be changed, mean how much it will change? 100 dirham per square meter is a huge amount. So there is a problem. There is a problem between these companies. They are misunderstand the material. Maybe the supplier is given a wrong information to them. Maybe they were not able to read the specification properly, or specification is not given enough information for them to understand. So these might be the reason that these prices are vary here. So what we do actually, let's say we have 9 companies participate in the tender. We make a tender analysis. Then we recommend to the client, shortlist first 3 or 4 companies, shortlist, because we cannot work with all these 9 companies all the time now, because tender evaluation is not easy process. You have to compare their BOQ, you have to go line by line items on each contractors and understand whose price more and what is the reason is. So it's a long process. So what we do actually, we shortlist the people. Let's say we shortlist to 3 companies. Then we still give a chance to the companies to price it. So still you have a problem. You receive the same issues like 100, 150, 200. So what we do actually, we fix the PC rate. We tell the contractor, Mr. Contractor, if you are an estimator, I fix the price, material price here, 40 dirham per square meter of this tile. Put the PC rate. When we revise the BOQ during the post tender, after the tender we receive and we make evaluation, we revise the BOQ. We issue a post tender clarification to the contractor, PTC. We tell the contractor to fix the PC rate for this particular material, let's say 40 dirham. So then we get the return from contractor after they price it. We might see that all of them are in the minor difference. Let's say 10, 20 dirham is different. So that is one of the reason we used to put PC rate in the BOQ. So there is two reasons. One is that we don't know the detail of the materials. We don't know the specification. We don't know who is the supplier. Maybe the supplier can be local or maybe from Europe. We don't know. So we are fixing during the tender process, during the pre-tender. When we are doing a tender documents, when we are preparing the bill of quantity, we put that PC rate. Then we are doubt with the specification. The specification is not properly given information to the supplier to price it. Also, we put that scenario, PC rate. Then another scenario, the third scenario, we don't have a time. For example, the design phase is given very short a time. For example, for the consultant, they're given only 1 month a design period. So a consultant to work lots of things, no? Because they have to work a structural design, they have to work a finishes, they have to work on the MEP design, they have to work with authorities. So many processes there. So within that period, they were the consultant architect was not able to fix or agree the tile finishes with the contractors, so the client. So that time I will tell the quantity surveyor, see, I didn't finalize the material with the client, but based on the budget, mean budget is prepared by the QS, no? Based on the budget, how much you assume for this material. So as a QS, I will advise him, let's say 40 dirham per square meter, I assume during the budget. So he will say, okay, put PC rate for 40 dirham. So that's how the PC rates comes in the project. I hope that the people who have some confusion on the PC rate, usually I think you got the idea of PC rate, or still you have doubt that I can clear, but you want to know much on this.
No, now I clear. I have.
Okay, so that is
If there's
one.
any doubt, I'll continue.
Great. So anyone else, you have something clarified? Anything in your facing day to day? Because it is not a class things, this is the workshop. So I'm here to help you all. So whatever the things you are facing day to day in your life, or maybe for your interview, or maybe with your senior, anything we can, because one by one I cannot clarify it. Maybe I'm used to get many calls from many people, from our people only. I didn't hesitate that. I always welcome, but always we will not be free. We are busy with the works. So in this common platforms, somebody have a question. Your workplace, you face issues. So let's, yeah.
I think we have two kind of group in this platform. Some of them, they are already working here, and they might aware about all the letters, words we are using here. And still someone from Sri Lanka, even though they studied, sometimes they might not have idea about what is pre-contract, what is post-contract. And maybe, I'm not sure, they might not know tendering, what is tendering process and all like this. So before we are going for this PC rate, PS rate, professional sum, this all, before that, if we have given introduction about how the market and consultant QS how and contractor QS how, like this, or introduction, what do you think?
Yeah,
I feel like that because I doubt maybe how many of here they are aware about tendering. They are about pre-contract mean what, post-contract mean what.
Yeah.
Maybe they don't, they will not say, but while I'm seeing the people, I doubt about that.
Correct. So
But if-
that's good concern actually. Let me give a brief.
Actually, now we ultimately here who are here, we all are like brothers, and our reason of this workshop is to prepare everyone to
Yes,
come and work here.
yes, to
Somebody
support
already
you
have
in your
work and
industry. Yes,
somebody willing to come. So you must have to open your mouth and you have to talk, because don't want to shy, because here we are to share the knowledge with each other. So whatever you don't understand or whatever in which way we want this class, you must have to say, because this is prepared for you only, who are going to work and who start the work. So sometime now Mufaris will not get the full idea about what you are expecting or
yes,
what you
yes,
want.
that's right.
So you don't hesitate to open the mouth. You have to talk. You
Yeah,
have to
see,
ask.
that don't be shy. First of all, don't be shy. And if you don't know how to talk proper English, even you can ask the question in Tamil. Because why we talk in English, you guys have to be familiar with the terminology. That is the reason we speak in English. But you can ask the question in Tamil. Don't be shy. Treat me as like your brother. Treat us as like your brothers. All of us. We very limited crowd here. 12 people is more than enough. If we all these 12 people get together and understand something, you get away with some good knowledge. Alhamdulillah, this is fair enough for everybody, and we satisfied, and our purpose is fulfilled. So it's like a workshop. Ask whatever your question, even that is not be a good question, even you feel that is a worst question, ask it. Because I am studying and I am doing MBA. Before I was very shy to ask all these questions, but now I don't feel shy. I ask anything, whatever in my mind, I ask it. Because when you speak louder or when you speak only, your brain will open. This is the lesson I learned from a profession. If you keep quiet, it will be keep quiet, and the brain also will quiet. The brain will not work. So ask your question. Okay, Basit is mentioned is right. I will give a brief. Who is consultant, what they are doing, what is the role, and what is the contractor duty, what is the subcontractor's duties, and what is the terminologies used. That is very important thing. I will give a brief about that. But people who are working in the industries, or what you need about, what you need to know about it, we will give you, because we are here to support you. We are not doing here any business thing. We need to understand from the people from where they are. I cannot unmute. I have a question, but I didn't give a permission. I didn't. What's that? Okay. I think I asked to unmute you, Ashik.
I think Ashik, it must be in your setting. I don't know, you are using laptop or
Yeah,
phone.
something with your setting, Ashik. Yeah.
Otherwise, you just give a voice cut to Mufaris. What is your question?
Yeah, even you can type the message on the chat box, because I didn't stop anyone to unmute. Okay. So, Basit, anything you want to tell? Yeah.
No, that's the thing. And we will give everyone to bring up their own question from next class onwards. From next class onwards, let everyone to give at least 3 to 5 questions from their end, what they have to clear from you. Then that is, I think, it is also
Yeah.
like a task we can give to everyone, what they want to study, what they have to know.
Yes. Also, I think I want to clear it. This WhatsApp group also is, we have so many candidates, but we will very focus only minimal few peoples, and we will continue with that. That would be better option. Okay. So let me tell you that first, so I mean, you know all about what is quantity surveying. Okay, so that quantity surveying term might not be suitable for our duty what we do it actually. So quantity surveying is just taking a quantity from the drawing. It's like measuring the quantities from the drawing. Just that is a quantity surveying. So for us, we need to put quantity surveying or commercial expert or contract expert. So whatever those names are only suitable for our duty. So this profession is work with many parties in the construction. So when it's come to the construction, you will see if you move to Sri Lanka from to UAE or wherever it is, you will see many parties involvement in one project that called as stakeholders. Stakeholders mean who are interested in the project. Okay, that is a term you have to use it, that you will be come across in your future. That the people who are interested in the project. So who is interested in the project? As a client, he is interested in the project because he's an investor. He's putting the money, so he's an investor. And the consultant who is doing a design to the client, consultant. So don't confuse that consultant, engineer, architect, this terminology. Don't because that industry is bombarded with so many terminologies. So don't confuse with that. Let me tell you what does it. It is depend on the terms and the condition of contract that used in the project. That engineers, the client, the employer, because you will see many names you will come across in the project. So each terms of contract or each form of contract is defined in a different way. For example, if you say FIDIC form of contract, okay, we are much familiar on the FIDIC form of contract. FIDIC form of contract is called the engineer is the one who is designing the project, and later he will do the supervision. Who was doing it, FIDIC is called as engineer. Okay. Then, okay, this FIDIC. Then there is another form of contract is JCT. Okay, this is used in UK, and engineer consultant. Okay, there is another form. I'm not sure that exactly what it is. So FIDIC is called as an engineer who is doing the design of the project and the supervision, and JCT called as an architect. Okay, this is the same guy who is doing the design and supervision. And another form of contract, I'm not sure that it might be IC or I'm not sure that called as a consultant. Okay, he's also the same guy who's designing. So if you are a QS who worked in the industry here, when you talk consultant, if your contract is FIDIC, that is wrong. Okay, you should not use that consultant. You have to tell that engineer. Engineer is the one who is doing a design and supervision. So this, where you want to, how you know that this FIDIC is mentioned as an engineer? Okay, how you know that it is FIDIC is mentioned as an engineer? So go back to the FIDIC, and maybe on the beginning of the clauses, I think clause number 1. Under the clause number 1, there is one clause called definition. Okay, if you have a FIDIC, you can open up today and look at it. There is a definition. Under the definition, each term used in the contract is given meaning of. So one of them is mentioned as an engineer. Okay, they had given who is engineer. Here they said who is designing the project, client representative, do the supervision or whatever it is. They given a definition. So under the FIDIC is engineer, JCT is an architect, some other form of contract is a consultant. So one party, you know that now, who is involving in the project is one party. So now somebody used to tell also client. Okay. So as per the FIDIC is not client. So when you are working under the FIDIC form of contract, you should not tell the client. You should not write a letter mentioning client. If you are a contractor or you're a consultant, when you're writing the letter to the client, you should not put the client as per the client instruction. No, you should put as an employer. Okay, employer. So as per the FIDIC, under the same definition, you go back and check what is in your contract, mention instead of client, you will see is an employer. So one party is an employer, is on the top of the hierarchy, is employer. Another party, number 2, is called as an engineer. Okay. Then the third one is contractor. Okay. So very interesting thing, everybody make a mistake when they write this engineer, employer, and contractor. Okay. Now normally in English, when you want to specify somebody, when you want to specifically talk about somebody, is, let's say, is a noun, you have to start with the capital letters. So if it is an engineer, you have to write as a capital E. That is very important. So if you write a small e, that is a different meaning. So who is a small e engineer? The one who is doing the supervision work at the site, the one who is inspecting the work at the site. He is the one called the small e engineer. Okay. So whenever you are writing a letter to the engineer, if you are a contractor or the subcontractors, don't write with the small e. The small e will go directly to the engineer. Okay, you cannot write that as per the engineer instruction, I will carry out this additional flooring. So if I am a professional QS, I'm reading this letter from the contractor or the client point of view, I will ask this question, who the hell this engineer to instruct the variation to the contract? He don't have the right. The small engineer, small e engineer don't have the right to instruct. The capital E engineer is mean the firm. He is the one have the right to instruct the variation, because that is mentioned that what is the engineer duty in the FIDIC. If you go to the FIDIC, you will see engineer's duties, instructing variation, whatever it is shown. But I don't want to confuse you right now. Okay, this is the capital E engineer is the one who is doing supervision and uh, uh, supervision and the design. Okay, then
So in
when
this
you,
case, the simple understanding, the small e engineer is, it is, if you mention small e engineer, this is for a person, individual person.
is an
Capital
engineer who
E
is working on
engineer,
the
that
site.
is for the firm. That is not identifying a person, that is the firm.
Yes.
In our easy understanding, we can say consultant called engineer. That
Yes.
capital E engineer. And small e engineer means we all are engineers. That is indicating the persons. That is the difference. Am I
That's
correct,
right.
Faris?
That's right. Yes. Also, whenever you write employer, you must write capital E, employer. You should not write a small e, employer. Also, this is indicating that you think that the client. So this employer, capital E employer, is the client. Okay. This is one thing that you will not deviate at, that there is no another employer in the site, so you will not get confused. But another issue is this contract. So when you write contractor, you must put capital C, because the domestic contractors, nominated subcontractors, and named contractors in the site, I'll tell you who is named contract. Don't get confused with that. If you put a small c, that is will refer to the contractor, other people, other contractors like subcontractors, nominated subcontractors, or whatever it is. So whenever you write a letter to the contractor, or if you are a client or a consultant, you write to the contractor, you have to put capital C. If you will see the definition in the FIDIC. Also, I said in the clause number 1, you go there and check that what is contractor is written, given definition there. So when you put capital C, only it will talks about the main contract. When you put a small c, that will goes to another contractors in the site. So you have to be careful there about this when you are writing or when you are talking. So one party we have seen it employer, other party we seen it engineer, other party we seen it capital C contract. So there is other parties, we call it subcontractors, who are direct contract with these people. These are the subcontractors, and these subcontractors can be named in various ways. We can say nominated subcontractors. Nominated subcontractors mean client nominate them. Nomination means normal English, simple English. You go and search it there. Nomination means somebody is proposing someone. This is nomination. Like in election, we go for a nomination now. That for this election, I'm going to contest. This is a kind of a nomination. So similarly, nomination means client is nominating this company. So these are the nominated subcontractors. There is another contractors called domestic contractors. You have to be understanding this term, domestic contractors. This mean contractors, main contractor, the one we talk about C, this contractor appoint his subcontractor. His subcontractor. He is not nominated contractor. The main contractor appoint his subcontractors. Those people called as a nominated subcontractor. Sorry, domestic subcontractors. Also in a FIDIC, they don't call it domestic subcontractor. FIDIC, they call it subcontractor, like this. Dash contractors, subcontractors. So these subcontractors are under the main contract. Nominated subcontractors are nominated by the client, but they also will have a contract with the main contractors. So don't confuse with that. That just familiar with the terminologies. Whoever is new, then there will be a suppliers. The suppliers are directly from main contractors, because main contractors, they have their own procurement department. Like we have a QS department, they have a technical department in each company. We have many departments, no? Like HR department, admin department, finance department. Every company, every contractor especially, they will have a procurement department. So this procurement department will deal with this suppliers. Mostly some of our QS, they also work under this procurement. I will come back to that. What about the QS role? Some of the procurement people, they deal directly with the supplier. So these suppliers, they supply the material to the store of the contractors, and contractors, the staff, they took this material from the store and they installed it. So that is a supply chain of this material supply. Okay, now we see, mostly we covered the parties, and there are parties, there are stakeholders is mentioned in, is there in the project, like authorities. I mean, you know, I mean, I should not leave that. I need to tell about this also, because sometime people who have many experience and they are not much familiar about this thing. You know, unlike Sri Lanka, UAE is fully governed by the statutories, which is a law of the country, in terms of safety of the building. Okay, so they were thinking, they were seeing about mainly 3 regulations here. One is municipalities. Municipalities is vary between Dubai and Abu Dhabi and Al Ain and Sharjah. They have different municipalities. So what this municipality sees, same like our municipalities in Sri Lanka. Let's say Dahiwala municipality or Kalmara municipality or whatever it is. They are given a guideline to build a building. What are the guidelines? So we, in our country, we have a certain guidelines that that building has to be built from the boundary this much and this much. Here is more advantage. They are using a building codes. That building codes is prepared by British. Also in Abu Dhabi municipality and Dubai municipality, they have their own code. So this code will help the users of the building. that code will specify that this much of room size and this much of height should be there, and accessible toilet should be there, ramp should be there. This is the height of the staircase waist, and this is the height length of the staircase raise. These are all important information. People to live without any issues, without any problems, they all mention this code. So you all know that the building is designed first. You know that engineer, the one we talk about, the engineer is designing the building. So during his design, okay, what he should do, that he should prepare concept design in the beginning. No, the first stage of the building, the project phase is started with the concept design. That you will see it in another subject, but just remember that first is concept design. Second is schematic design. We call it scheme design. Third is detail design. Okay. And fourth is comes to tender. Okay. So the fourth stage is tender. So in this concept stage, what he will do, he will prepare a concept of the building. Like he will prepare, this is the size and this all. But as an architect, he know that, because based on his previous experience, he know how to design this based on the municipality requirement. Because he by heart all of the code of the municipality, all the code of the British code. They call it building code or something, BCS or something. So they know that. So they will prepare a concept design, then they will submit to municipality. Okay. The only that can be happen in the concept design, or it can be happen in the schematic design. Mostly it happen in between this stage. Okay, between schematic and detail. What they do, they prepare it, they will submit to municipality. Municipality will review it. That submitted through a system, and they will review it. Okay, this design is comply with our regulation or not. They will review it. They will say, okay, go ahead. Then not only municipality is dealing as authority. This is the regulation to check the livable of that, the spaces and all these things. There is another authority called civil defense. Civil defense. This is checking the building health and safety. So there will be a famous question in RICS. In the beginning, they will ask, okay, who makes sure the health and safety, or the safety of the building, the concerned department in UAE? So the answer is civil defense, because this is the first question, then they will try get you the detail later. So the answer is civil defense. Civil defense is always look the safety of the building, whether this building is designed in a way safely to live the people. So this is the duty of civil defense to check. So what they will check in terms of fire. Okay, the doors where there is a fire is easily can access those places to be fire rated. It can be lobby and the lobby door, and these all information they will check whether this is safety or not. This wall can catch the fire or not. And also they will check the sprinkler system. Also they will check the external facade system. Also they check this the ceiling height, and how much the height above the ceiling and the slab, how much the height. If it is more than 1 meter or 1.5 meter, you need to put another sprinkler on top of it. So there are so many regulations. So they make sure that building is livable, the health and safety. Because when there is a fire, that's health and safety. Civil defense only is coming to tackle the fire situation. So civil defense is responsible to make sure that your building is safe to live here. So in the same stage of here, you submit your drawing to the civil defense. Civil defense will review. Okay. Then they will confirm you, okay, the building is safe to go ahead. So that is second approval you get. First, Dubai the municipality. Second, you get from the civil defense. The third one is ADDC. In Abu Dhabi, I'm talking. In Dubai is DEWA. So duty of this authority in Abu Dhabi is, we call it ADDC, Abu Dhabi Distribution Company. Dubai, we call it Dubai Water Electricity Authorities. So they will look at your drawings. Okay, this is your drawings, and they have their own pipe connection for the water, and they have their power connection here. So they will tell you that, okay, I have a, you can connect your power for this building here. You can connect your water for this building here. So they will locate you that, okay, you have a power nearby this building. If there is no power, then you have to bring from far away. So that will be address you during this stage. This is the connection. This is not about your health and safety, or this is not about your regulation to build how it is. It's about your connection issues. So during this process, you have to get the approval from them. Otherwise, the contractor who is take the tender and he will suffer to price it. He don't know what's happening there. So that is another authority here. If the building is having a gas connection, normally in Sri Lanka we don't have that kind of scenario, but here we have a gas connection, no, gas network. So that deal with Abu Dhabi, we deal with ADNOC. I don't know in Dubai. So what ADNOC will do that, ADNOC will look at it in a two different angle. ADNOC will see, because gas is a flammable item, so they will see it in a safety point of view, one thing. And the second thing is they will see it in a connection point of view. So that gas safety also look at it by the civil defense, because when you are submitting to the civil defense, if the building is consist of gas, first you have to get the approval of ADNOC, then you go to civil defense, because civil defense also will look at that. Because you see most of the gas line in Abu Dhabi, mostly you see the line is on, you will see the building external on the elevation, yellow color pipe, because all the gas pipes are not allowed to come into the building. You cannot install the gas line inside the building. You have to bring it outside the building, because if there is a blast in the gas, it will make a problem to the building. No? So that is what they bring it to the outside. So this all they will look into that. So ADNOC will tell you that how to connect it. ADNOC also will tell you that what is the safety. So you have to install it. They have to install the gas detector, where you have to install it, how many gas detectors should be there, how many leak detection should be there. So many procedures is there. So ADNOC also will look into that process. The fourth authority is, I'm talking about the main authorities. There are minors. I mean, you will see it, but these are the major authorities that is there in these industries. The fifth one is in Abu Dhabi is Estidama. I think in Dubai they call it SAFET. I'm not sure, under the Dubai municipality they call it SAFET system or something. So what is their duty? For example, here they have, Abu Dhabi had given a regulation, okay, that for example a residential villa has to meet this much of criteria to comply with the environmental perspective. So in terms of your energy that you are exerting to the environment, how much that energy should be your, let's say that carbon dioxide, how much your building is emitting the carbon dioxide to the environment. So they will calculate this. Estidama will calculate and give you a grade for your building. So otherwise, the designer who designing the building, he know that this residential building to meet this criteria. So when he's designing it, he will design it accordingly, because that criteria, let's say that if the building is has to go for Pearl 3 criteria, that Pearl 3 is mentioned that how much carbon emission should be there, how much your elevation U value should be there. So that is a criteria. So that designer will design it according to the criteria. Then he will submit to this authority. This authority will verify it. Okay. Then authority will tell you, okay, go ahead with your project. Then now at this stage, you get all the information from authorities. Then you update it on your detailed design and your tender document. Okay. Then you float the tender. Okay. Then you go for a tender. So while you're go for a tender, all of your drawings are in compliance with all the authorities. What I mentioned, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. all of your drawings are according to the authority requirement. So before that, I want to tell you something. Unlike Sri Lanka, here there is another important thing. You have to obtain a NOC from all the authorities. Here in UAE, we have an integrated system. So that you can obtain from the Dubai municipality, because Dubai municipality or Abu Dhabi municipality system is connected with the all the authorities like a civil defense or ADDC or ADNOC or Etisalat or whatever it is. And I missed here also is Etisalat and or telecom. That is also another authority. Etisalat or do here, they will tell you the connection, how far it is there and all these things. So that is another main authorities. So from all these authorities, before you start the project, you need to get NOC. NOC mean what? No objection certificate. That this is your plot. Okay, this is your plot. You're going to build it. So you know that there may be a pipes, because this country is developed in different occasions. So they build it and they demolition, they rebuild it. So there may be a pipe or there may be a cable. So this cable is from Etisalat maybe. This cable is from, this pipe is from ADDC. Okay, and that is another cable. So you have to get all these authorities no objection certificate saying that this plot doesn't have any existing utility life services. You can go ahead to do the excavation, because here most of the building have a basement. You will go for 5 basement, 4 basement, whatever it is. Then you have to go for deep of 30 meter or 16 meter or 20 meter. That normally that utility services there in 2 meter, maximum 2-3 meters. No, so when you're doing excavation, you cut a fiber optic cable which is serving the Etisalat, then entire UAE will Abu Dhabi will be without internet. So you have to be careful that. So that is what they will tell in the no objection certificate, that they will tell, okay, there is no services available in this plot. You can go ahead to do the work. Otherwise, they will tell, no, there is a cable here, there is a pipe here, there is a power cable here. First, you have to relocate them. So you have to relocate them here first. Okay, all these cable you have to relocate them here. Then only you can start the work. We are doing a current project, have lots of issues. First, we did this relocation only. We took to do for 6 months only for the relocation. So what you have to do then, you have to, this NOC will mention that you have this connection, all these things. Then you have to deploy a people to do a manual excavation, because they should not damage the cable. Then this, after the manual excavation, first you have to scan the ground, and you have to identify that how many meter this cable is there and what is the thickness of cable, and they will do some like ultrasound scanning. Then they will locate the things and they will start doing a manual excavation. After the manual excavation, they will find the cable, and they find the cable, they have to inform to the authority that we found this cable. Then authority will come. Authority will come and they will do a shutdown. They will do shutdown mean they have to do a alternative cable here. Then they will shut down and immediately they will transfer the connection to the new line. So this process has to be done in front of the authority representative. That authority will bring his own shutdown people. We cannot cut the connection and shut down it. Then we'll be get 100,000, 200,000 fine we'll get it. So that shutdowning has to be done by the authorities. They train to do a shutdown, because you know that power cut has not happening in this part of the world. Maybe a few seconds, we will not know that when it is happening. So that has to be done along with the NOC. So guys, you have to understand there is a authorities on board. That is also is project stakeholders. So as we see that who was involved in the project, the employer, engineer, contractor, subcontractor, nominated subcontractors, suppliers, and relevant authority. These all are the parties mostly involved in the construction industry. So now we see what are the parties involved. Okay, let me stop that. There is a question from Nazar. Before I come to the next part, let me read his question and answer to the questions. Pre-contract stage, when we are preparing the bill of quantities with no price. Yes, so it's mean the consultant is preparing the bill of quantities, and we will mention this is a PC rate. Okay. After client change, for example, tile PC rate, after client change, for example, tile PC rate, it will come as a variation, pre-contract. Stage time only, we can allow the change PC rate to client. Or he can sign the contract later stage, he can change the PC rate as a variation. Or PC rate must need to be fixed prior of a pre-contract. I mean pre-contract stage. I understand the question of Nazar. Nazar, this question, let me clarify this question first. Your question is, there is a PC rate in the bill of quantities. Client has put the PC rate. Then he tender out. He tender out, the contractor is price the tender. Okay. Then after that, during the progress, client come and say, instead of 40, no, there is, I cannot accept this 40. I need to go little up to 50. Then that change, what he brought it, of course, is a variation. But if it is less, I mean, I didn't explain you guys how to administrate this piece rate. Let me tell you that how to administrate it. So when there is a PC rate in the BOQ, when it's come to the project stage, you see 40 dirham PC rate in the BOQ. So client will tell you when he found the PC rate, he will tell the contractor bring the quotation to the 40 dirham, or he may have a quotation from his people. So this quotation he brought or you brought him, it is like 35 dirham. So there will be an adjustment on the rate. Then there will be a saving to the client, huh? Because he put 40, then they installed to 35. Yes, that is adjustment. There will be a saving to the client. So same time that 35, that 40 may go up to 50. So if it is 50, this is variation to the contractor, of course. You can ask for that 10 dirham as a variation in addition to the contract. So that is, we call it a prime piece rate adjustment. That is specially, I mean, as I mentioned earlier, that will show in your pricing preambles how to adjust the piece rate. So first of all, when you are in the position to adjust that, if some of your manager asks you to do the PC rate adjustment, first you have to go to your pricing preamble and read it. What does it say about the adjustment? How to do the adjustment? So accordingly, you have to work. Otherwise, as we mentioned simply, that you know that the installation price, unless he change the thickness or unless he change the size of the tile. For example, he mentioned 60 by 60 in the tender. Same 60 by 60 is installing, but the tile price is something different. So your installation cost is still remains same, no? You still your installation cost is remains same. So for example, here is 40, another X amount for installation and overhead profit. Installation is here, plus your overhead and profit. Okay, now it is changed to 35. Then you have to add your X installation same, because still it is 60 by 60 tile, plus overhead profit comes as a percentage, no? Or then here, let's say that here you put 7%, same 7% you apply here. Then you will get Y amount of this. That is your adjustment. Similarly, you have here is 50 dirham. Still the same tile, sizes, everything is same, no changes. So your installation cost also is same. Into, you add your overhead and profit, 7%. So it can little bit more, because of that overhead profit will be more because your material price is more. So this is how you do the adjustment. Okay. Nazar, during pre-contract stages, client asking to propose as need this style only. It will come as a revision in post-contract stage. During pre-contract stage, the client asking to propose as I need this style only. Pre-contract, yes. It will come as a revision to the post-contract stage. If he change during the post-contract, yes. We submit a tender. Assume like yes, you during the tender you submit for 40 gram. Okay. Then during the post-contract, client come and say that to change it to different price or different materials. Then this will be adjusted as a PC rate adjustment. Now he changed it as a PC rate adjustment. I think Nazar, if the question was difficult for you to chat, I think you can put me in WhatsApp. I think I can clarify that because maybe in typing we may lose some essence of this question. So better you can put me in you can put me in yeah, that's fine. You can whether you can try to do the setting and ask the question on the Zoom itself. Otherwise, you can put a WhatsApp or put a question to our group so we can clarify it. Because on the wording, I cannot clearly understand what exactly you are expecting. So that's fine. So now we see who are the parties is involved in the project. Then we come to QS. What are the QS is there? What QS roles? What if you are coming for an interview or if you want to face an interview? What QS will do and what are their roles? We'll see that. In the first thing is quantity surveys, as I mentioned earlier, that they use it in a different direction because the term quantity surveys is found for some reasons, and nowadays their duties are expanded in different ways. Because maybe if you study a diploma in quantity surveying, you will see a subject of measurement, and you will see a subject of what call this is a quantification, contract administration, and contract management, law, for example, construction law something. Then finance, you'll see economy, we call it building economy, and so many subjects. So here, where is the quantity surveys? Quantity surveys is stuck here only. And this all designed to give additional information than the quantity surveys. So forget about the quantity surveys. Quantity surveys is only used where is in the estimation department. Even he's not an estimator. Estimator is something different role. He's doing only quantity takeoff to support the estimator. He take out the quantities and give it to the estimator. Estimator will price it and put it, multiply it, and make a BOQ, tender it. So that's how he does. And also this quantity surveys is coming to measure the progress. You know that if it is a lump sum contract, quantity surveys come and quantify our survey, doing a quantity surveying in the site. That is his role. That is only the quantity surveys. But how is revolution comes, I don't know the history of that. But what role of the quantity surveys are doing it here in UAE is different. We have a quantity surveys who work with the client. We have a quantity surveys who work with the contractors. Quantity surveys who work with the engineer. Quantity surveys who work with the subcontractors. Quantity surveys work with the suppliers. Quantity surveys work with the climb evaluation companies. Okay. quantity surveys work with the what do you call valuation companies. So quantity surveys work everywhere. So it's not limited that you work with the contractors, client, and consultant or the engineer. Your role is everywhere. Even you go to the procurement department, your role is there. You go to the supplier, your role is there. You go to the I know that one of my friend is working in an equipment supply company. So what is the role? Quantity surveys will do that. So my assumption was quantity surveys are correlating to the finance, okay, finance into the progress. So that is one thing. Who is doing the bills, like certifying, invoicing, and all these things? Because as an accountant, he doesn't know about the construction knowledge. If you tell the accountant, go and inspect the site, okay, go and inspect the site. Somebody asked to Ed, but I didn't see that video. Okay, if a client, wait a second. If an accountant, if your manager asks the accountant to go and inspect the site, he will not know what is beam and what is column, what is foundation, and what is waterproofing, and he don't know that. Then he just go and look at it, that he asked from somebody from the site, what is this, he note down and he come back. Then you see the bill of quantities. The bill of quantities is mentioned column, concrete, and upstand, all this. He get confused. He don't know what it is. So quantity survey's role in terms of certifying the invoice is connecting the finance, connecting the accountant with the engineer. Engineer is doing the progress. Accountant is climbing from them. So he is making a bridge between these two. This was one perspective. Who is doing invoicing and all these stuff in the site. Another perspective, who is purely taking quantities, is helping in different ways. As I mentioned earlier, that if he's only taking a quantities, to prepare a bill of quantities with the consultant, who is preparing a bill of quantities in the consultant. No? As I mentioned earlier, that there is a stage one concept design, schematic design, detailed design, tender drawings, no? Tender documents. Under this stage, they are preparing BOQ. There is a drawing, there is a specification, there is a vendor list, stuff is there. No, this BOQ is prepared by a senior commercial guy, because those description and the coverage of the items and all this has to be refer in junction with the method of measurement. So today I was supposed to do that method of measurement, but anyway, that we'll do it in next session, next week, inshallah. So this bill of quantities is, to prepare a bill of quantity, you need to have quantities from the drawings. So quantity survey's first duty, starting from there, is taking out the quantity to prepare a bill of quantity. So do you think that this is stop here? To prepare a bill of quantities only we are taking a quantities? No. One step ahead here, when you are having a, I say this, getting disturbed. I think someone is telling they are trying to connect, but they cannot connect. I don't know why. The third message I received. Why we didn't limit the crowd, no? Anyway, so in not only to prepare the bill of quantity, here you come, you're doing a cost planning. No? We will see the cost planning in a different session. There is process called cost planning, which is like a budgeting the project. Being an engineer side, you have to budget the project first. Okay, because you need to tell the client, okay, client, from the concept design here, there is a concept drawing is there. There will not be a detail. There is a concept like some lines only will tell that, then how much the height and something like that. Few details will be there. Then as a QS, quantity surveyor, we call it not a QS, we call it a cost planner. Okay, that person is called as a cost planner. This cost planner has to tell the client, this is stage, this is the cost of your building. So to tell the client this is the cost of the building, he cannot just go and look at the area and multiply that. No, there is a process called elemental cost planning. Okay, that process starting from this first stage, we call it in the concept stage itself. There is a process called elemental cost planning doing by this cost planner. Also is a QS. Okay, then he will break it down the element of the building. For example, he will break down the element called foundation, column, beam, slab, partition wall, load bearing wall, thermal wall, something like that, finishing, ceiling, MEP. He will make an elemental breakdown of the building. Okay, then he will tell his QS who is supporting to him to take a quantities, quantify this column, how many number of columns, how many length of beam, how much the area of slab, okay, how many number of AC units is there. Tentatively, he need to make a quantity. So that quantity surveyor at this stage will also work with the cost planner to give the quantities. Then the cost planner, he know how to price it, because it's not the price same what we put in the tender. If it is the column, that he need to consider so many things in the column, not only the concrete price. Also, he need to add contingencies on top of it. Also, you need to put ancillary of the concrete like supply and so many things he has to consider that. So that cost planner will have the rate for that kind of thing. Okay, so what he will do, the quantity surveys, one of the duty is here to give a quantity to the cost planner. Then also in the third stage, schematic design stage or the detailed design stage, also the design will revise, no? Because concept design is not the same as schematic design. The design is developed a little bit in the schematic design. Schematic design to the detailed design is developed further. From that design to design, the quantity surveyor job is to quantify the work and give it to the cost planner. So once the cost planner is done, cost planner is made made the project to match to the client budget, cost planner will leave from that stage. Then the QS commercial guy will come and prepare the bill of quantities. Might be the same cost planner or different team. So from where the the QS duties is starting, I'm telling you from the consultant perspective. First, where it's starting from the cost planning stage. Second is preparing the bill of quantities. Third is issuing the tender clarification. Let me tell you that. When you prepare the bill of quantities along with other tender documents, we will study what is other tender documents, why those are the tender documents. After that, they will float the tender. Okay, the engineer, the consultant will float the tender to the market. So what type of tender, how they will float the tender, why they float this kind of tenders, that is a different subject, procurement and tendering, that we will learn it later. So they will float the tender. Once they float the tender, the contractors will collect the tender documents. Now, contractor will collect the tender documents. They will do an estimation. The tenderer, the contractor's tender department will collect the documents. So the estimator, under him, he will have a QS. No? So they will give it to the QS to check the quantities mentioned in the BOQ. Estimator will coordinate with the suppliers and subcontractors to arrange the price, and the quantity surveys quantity and estimator price put together, and they submit the tender. So here, one stage, they are floating the tender. Okay. And there is another process. They estimator is pricing and is returning the tender. This process is called tendering. Okay, they are tendering. Estimation team, they are tendering the tender, and the engineer is tendering. After they submit the tender, this will come to the engineer. I'm telling here, first I said cost planner to make a quantities, then bill of quantities, then they float the tender, also is a QS duty. It's because you study a procurement, so this is also QS duty. Then during the tendering phase, you contractor will ask, during this phase, contractor will ask so many questions because he might not understand the item in the bill of quantities. He might see the difference in the quantities. He might not receive the drawings perfectly. So tendering also is part of a QS job. They respond to the question asked from the contractors in coordination with other departments. Other department mean engineering department, like designers, mechanical designers, structural designers, architect, authorities, and in coordination with all these people, they respond to the question. This is tendering, or we call it tender bulletin or tender queries, or we call it tender queries or tender clarification or whatever it is. So there are different terminologies they use. Based on the question, if the engineer or the UQers feel that sufficient document is not given to the contractor to price this, you will add some more documents along, ask from the engineers, the designer or engineer or whatever it is, ask from them. You will add some more documents. That document you issue to the contractor during tendering phase, that call it tender addendum. You issue as an addendum. Addendum means extra documents you are giving to them. So you issue as a tender addendum during this tendering phase. This is also is a contract, the quantity survey's duty. So once the tender return is came to you, what you do, you make an evaluation. Okay, you make an evaluation during this phase, and you have to recommend one contractor to the client. So making evaluation, making commercial evaluation. There are two different evaluations. You have to evaluate the contractors technically, and also you have to evaluate the contractor commercially. So you as a QS don't do a technical evaluation. Technical evaluation will be done by a technical party. You as a QS, you do a commercial evaluation. Then you collect the technical evaluation result from the technical evaluation team, then put together and submit the report to the client also is your duty as a quantity surveyors from the consultant perspective. So during this tendering, the evaluation period, you have any question to ask from the contractors, you issue the question to the contractors through a post-tender clarification. We call it PTC. You can ask series of questions through a post-tender clarification. So that call is post-tender clarification. Now people have a big concern that what is post, what is pre, and this post and pre is not exactly that you have to buy her. Okay, then you have to connect it based on your experience. You have to connect. This post and pre is coming in the tender, and post and pre is coming in the project also. So you need to understand what is post contract, what is pre contract, what is post tender, what is pre tender. So this post and pre is just an English, is added in front of this tender and contract. So that you have to be careful. So here is a line of the project. Here is the awarding of the project. Okay, awarding of the project. This is the project. Okay, so this is the awarding time. After this awarding is, we call it post. This means something happening after. So this is pre. Okay, so this pre to the contract, to the project. So this is the pre-duration of the project before awarding. This is after awarding, we call it post. Okay, similarly, tender, we draw a line for the tender. Here is the place where you have tender, you get the return. Tender submitted by the contractor to the consultant. Tender return. Okay. So this is the first tender return. So here it's called post tender. Okay. Post tender is reached up to when? Until awarding. Until awarding is when? This one. Okay. This is until award. So this is, we call it pre-tender. Okay. This is pre-tender. And this is post-tender. Somebody will tell pre-tender estimate. So what is that pre-tender estimate? The engineer who's doing estimate of the project is called as a pre-tender estimate. Post-tender means after the you receive the offer from the contractor, you know the price. So client will tell, compare your price, compare the contractor price, compare the return you get from the contractors with your pre-tender estimate. So for example, for a cubic meter of concrete, as an engineer, you estimate 1,500 per square meter, but contractors is submitting 3,000. So client will go one by one and look at it and ask why your price is low, contractor price is more, something like that. So that is what they ask the estimation from engineer. One is to focus the project budget. Other one is to see how the performance of the engineer, how he's working. So the cost planner and this estimator, pre-tender estimators are key role in the QS. Sometime you will lose your head. If the budget is you budgeted for 10 million, then the project is come 20 million. If the 10 million is different, you don't have a justification to tell. Definitely they will put you in jail, because somebody take a loan based on your estimation 10 million, and they're ready to start the project. Then once the tender is came to 20 million. No option to do most of the value engineering and reduce and change the design, everything. You did so many homework, still not reached to 10 million. Then client will be upset with you. He will put you in big trouble. So that is very important. That is a very, very important role of the quantity surveys, make a pre-estimation. So I'm just lining up the engineers' duties, the quantity surveys duties who work with the consultant. So that then you prepare a report, and then you suggest to the contractors. You suggest the contractor to the client. You recommended he is the best guy to go ahead. So even the recommendation you must have to give by doing so many analysis. Not only a commercial analysis, you must know that how this guy is technically competent. Based on the technical score, you have to visit the site and check how is quality of the work. Then you financially he's capable or not. Financial capability has to be checked. Let me put this question to someone. Anyone can tell me that how we can decide how, if you let's say you are working as a consultant QS or the client QS. Okay, then you receive a very lowest offer from one contractor. Okay, and you feel something not good about this contractor. You don't want to award him because he is not that much financially having an issue, because he is not paying the salary to his team, his people. He's not paying the rent, and then he's not buying the materials because he have some financial issues. Sorry. As a QS, what would you suggest? What is a mechanism that you suggest to your client or your owner of the company to check his capability, financial capability? Anyone here to answer it? I'll be very happy to hear that somebody answer that. How we can check the financial capability of the company? Apart from the bank statement, I don't want to hear from you the bank statement. Away from the bank statement, what is the document?
The previous pre-qualification for the company.
Okay, that pre-qualification will tell you that what is the company technically qualification, what is the project they have done it, and everything is done. But there is a in the part of the pre-qualification documents, there is another important document. Yes, Nazar said the cash flow. Very interestingly, I need to hear that cash flow. Just cash flow is not answer, but if you are a QS, don't say just a cash flow. You have to add something in front of the cash flow. So what to add? I will come to you, Nazar. I will explain you a very interesting thing in cash flow. So the answer to the question, anybody is there to answer? Anyone ready to tell you what document that to check the contractor's financial capabilities? Very important thing to the QS, you must know that. And this is very important part even in RICS. They ask this question, how you will check. They know that normally everybody who's doing RICS, they know that what document is that. Anyone one chance, another one chance I give. Somebody can tell me what it is that. Okay, that we call it that we call audited financial report. Okay, so normally we ask for 5 years, or we can say 3 years audited financial report. So each company in UAE, according to UAE law, they have to prepare a financial report which should be audited by the third party. So that auditing company should not be in-house of the company. They should not be in-house auditors. There should be an external auditor, independent party, should be audit that report, because they should not do any influence on the report. That report should be independent. So that is what we call it, audited financial report. This audited financial report has to be submitted to the client or the consultant, okay, during their technical submission, because they submit 2 documents, no? Along with the tender, they submit commercial submission and technical. So in this document, they, along with the technical documents, they have to submit the audited financial report. This audited financial report, as a QS, you or maybe your financial guy in your company, they have to open it. They have to see how much the assets of the company, how much the liability of the company, what is the ratio. This whole ratio you'll have to learn it. When you are coming to RICS, you will learn it. What is the ratio? Whether this company is financially doing good or bad, you will understand from this ratio. So this is the document that tells you that the contractors is financially okay or not. But still people influence something. That is what they do, or they ask for audited. It has to be audited with the third party. So they trust that third party auditing report. So then only they award. Interestingly, a few weeks ago, I'm hearing from Abu Dhabi. There is a department called Etihad Bureau. Etihad Bureau is to tell the individual. Before I know that they are doing individual. For example, if you request a credit card from the bank, okay, bank will not ask anything about from you. They will only ask from your Emirates ID or whatever your passport copy. They will go to Etihad Bureau and check your financial score. How much your financial score to give you a credit card you are capable to pay or not. They will decide it from there. They have a limited score. From there they decide. Now, interestingly, that come to the company as well in UAE, Abu Dhabi especially, that now when like 2-3 days ago, I sent a pre-qualification questionnaire to the contractors to give a Etihad Bureau credit risk report. So the company has to go to Etihad Bureau. They cannot do any influence on that. They have to pay 20 dirham or 100 dirham or 150 dirham to the Etihad Bureau. They can take a report from them. They have to put it in the technical submittal and give it to us. Then we will see that report, how they performing financially, whether they, how many check bounce in previous, how many suppliers is compliant, so many things will be mentioned there. So from there we can decide whether we can give this project to this contractors or not. These all are quantity surveyors duties. So if you are come to a big position in the quantity surveys, working in a consultant or the client, you must be familiar with all these things. So coming back to Nazar cash flow, there are two main type of cash flows there. So when you are talking cash flow, you have to be very careful that. So one is you say cash flow. Yes, correct. There are two terms called statement and forecast. Okay. So these two are two different things. When you say Nazar, your answer cash flow somehow is correct, but that is not accurate documents to check. When you say cash flow, you have to tell cash flow statement. So like our bank statement, no, our bank statement is says our previous record in the bank. It will not tell that in forecast, no. It will not tell that in future. It will tell cash flow statement. So when you say cash flow, you have to tell cash flow statement. Correct. You tried very well actually. Cash flow is one of the document to study about the contractor's capability of financial, but you have to add that cash flow statement. Cash flow forecast is something you expecting some money from the suppliers and the client. So that is a vast subject, guys, about the cash flow. We will take a time and we will tell you that what is cash flow forecast, because that prepared along with the S curve and all things stuff, so that you have to, or that it is very important part of the QS. That is also is one of the QS duty. If you are working in the contractor QS, or you work in a consultant firm, or you work in a client firm, this cash flow is very important to you. It will come to you and disturb you every time. Okay. Now, based on the duty of a consultant quantity surveys, we stop at the project awarding level. So we go back to contractors quantity surveys. We go back to contractors quantity surveys. So what contractors quantity surveys do? So contractors quantity surveys, they start their job from the estimating. Their duty start from the estimation. So in estimation, there are two people, as I mentioned earlier, estimator. In estimation, there are many people. Okay, you must know that. First, we call it estimator. He is a leader, might be, or we say the commercial guy. Okay, then you will see a quantity surveyor who purely work on the quantity. I mean, there will be a typo errors on this. This I'm typing fast, so ignore that. I'm just putting you the essence of the terms. Okay, then there will be a vendor manager. Okay, this vendor manager might not be a quantity surveyor. It can be a procurement guy or maybe admin guy. Okay, then you must need a document controller in the estimation department. So this estimator, what is his duty? He might be a quantity surveyor. He should be a quantity surveyor because he is estimating the unit price. Because he, let's say concrete, he need to go to the material, labor, and plan and everything. He need to go and he has to measure it, and he need to get the quotation. He should get the quotation from all these suppliers, machinery supplier, labor supplier, material supplier. He need to make an estimation, because for example, he has to do like 10 meter cube, this much labor we need, this much. There are norms in Sri Lanka. We call it BCIR or something. But UAE, there is a norms, but nobody is using it. That somebody is working based on their experience. Some profession people, they do estimation reality. They do estimate really, and they price it. Okay, so estimator, he should be a QS who work on all these estimation purposes. Similarly, the quantity surveyors who worked on the quantities. So as I mentioned earlier, that together they put the rates came from the estimator. quantity comes from the quantity surveys put together, and they make a bill of quantities. So very important thing is here. Now you have a material price. Yes, material price. Okay. Now you have a labor. Now you have a plant or machineries. And interesting that you need to add overhead and profit. So this overhead and profit comes from where? Let's say overhead and profit 10%. Okay. This 10%, who decides? How they derive this overhead and profit? Is that QS decision, or is that financial guy decision, or is that accountant decision, or is the decision of CEO? Let's say they decided 10%, how they decided? Can anybody tell that from where this overhead profit percentages comes? How they decided this percentage, based on what this calculation made up? Anybody can tell? Nazar or Sami, usually or Sadiq, anybody knows that based on what they decide this overhead and profit? And what is this overhead and profit, first of all? What is OH and P? The overhead and profit. What is this overhead and profit? First of all, what is this overhead and profit? Who decide this overhead and profit? And based on what they decide? Is what my question. Ishrat trying to tell something? Yeah, Nazar, I can understand that. Yes, you are there, somewhere there. I need to understand what is overhead at first. What is overhead? Yes, direct cost and our internal cost for office and staff basis. Okay, that profit, who decide the profit and how they decide the profit? Okay, guys. Now, this is very vast areas, overhead and profit. This is a decision of many people made in the project. Profit based on market rate also, not exactly a profit based on the market. Profit calculation is a huge calculation. That is a contribution of finance of the company. He has to be decided. He should be there on the table. And quantity survey, he should be there on the table. And company CEO should be there on the table to decide the overhead and profit of the company. So the overhead and profit that we mentioned on the unit rate of the bill of quantities are based on this calculation what we made. Okay, that this finance guy, QS, and CEO, mostly these three are more important. So that overhead is what? This overhead, what we putting this overhead is what? We call it, this overhead is a head office overhead. Why we call it head office overhead? Maybe there is another term also there. That is what we are segregating now, head office overhead. There is another overhead called is site overhead. Site overhead. That overhead comes under the preliminary. During our preliminary session, I explained that about this site overhead. That site overhead comes under the preliminaries. This overhead, what mentioning in the bill of quantities, that what we mentioned in the bill of quantities is a head office overhead. So head office overhead is head office expenses. So guys, I will take one session to explain you that what is this head office overhead. This combination of what from our staff and office cost. Yes, it is office cost. So office cost, what are the costs? There are many costs. The staff also is not all the staff. Not all the staff, only few staff is mentioned. Other staffs are coming under the site overhead. And the profit is decided is based on your project in hand. You have many projects. with you in different locations, you have many profit income from that project as well. So you decide your profit by incorporating all those other profit as well. So you cannot just decide for this project I need to have this profit and that project I have that profit. No, you cannot decide based on that. That you have to put together and see how much the profit. If you have more project, okay, if you have more project, your overhead and profit percentage will come less. If you have less project, you need to have more operation cost in your overhead and profit. Your more operation cost to be claimed on the overhead and profit. So you just keep in your mind that if you have more project, your overhead and profit less. You have less project, your overhead and profit more. So keep it in that way. Then we will come and study later that what is the overhead and profit in detail, that we will see how to calculate that. So as I mentioned here, that quantity surveyor doing estimation, quantity take off from that. Then he is giving to the estimator put the price, and overhead and profit decided by the parties. That, as I mentioned earlier, that also that interference of the quantity surveyor put together and price the tender and submit to the consultant. So once the consultant is received, you know that what consultant QS is doing that job. After the submit that, as I explained earlier, that there is a post-tender clarification, stuff like that is there now. That post-tender clarification also, during clarification, consultant asks the contractor estimators to ask some more detail, or maybe to revise the bill of quantities, unit rate. He will ask time to time some question until awarding the project. So that time also you have to work as a quantity surveyors on the bill of quantities and pricing and quantity, stuff like that. So now we see the role of quantity surveyors. We see the role of quantity surveyors from engineer, okay, and contractor till awarding the project. Okay. Now we will see in the next session the client side quantity surveys, what is his role, and in common quantity surveys, what are their role after awarding the project. Okay, so it's 9:30. Today we will stop at this level. We'll see it from next week. We will touch upon this role of the quantity surveys and what they do actually. Then we will start our quantification and costing session. We'll continue with that.